Okay, Erev Tov. It's a little weird talking to a video. You tell a joke and you get no response. Some of you are thinking, Rabbi, when you tell a joke when we're all around, you get no response. But okay, I can handle that. Anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. It's nice talking to some of you. Baruch Hashem, out of the 233 people that are in the daily halacha, there are about 130 Tiferet Alumnae. So I am very, very excited. If I repeat some things that you're going to get in daily halacha, I apologize, but that's the nature of this. I want to talk a little bit about Parshat Balak and the 3 weeks. First of all, as I need to do, I need to start off with a little bit of halacha, because if I don't, I'm going to get these questions anyways within the next few days from Baruch Hashem, a lot of you. I'm going to get questions about the 3 weeks, and I'm going to get specifically about music and listening to music. So let me just quickly, in about a minute and a half to 2 minutes, since I only have about 8 altogether, I want to quickly give different opinions about the situation with listening to music during the 3 weeks. This does not apply to the 9 days, just to the 3 weeks. The 9 days start from Rosh Chodesh Av. We're just dealing with the 3 weeks now, which starts this coming Tuesday with Shiva Sar Tammuz. And we'll discuss the 9 days a little bit later. There are different opinions about listening to music. Across the board, everyone holds that live music is inappropriate and should not be listened to. Even if you're going to a live music that has sadder music, you're not allowed to go to that. Any kind of live music, we really discourage from anyone going to. If you are a music teacher or a music student, and you're either teaching classes or learning in those classes, that is different. That doesn't necessarily bring joy to anyone. It's more for learning purposes, and therefore one is allowed to do so, even though that is live. When it comes to recorded music, or not live music on your iPod, on computers, things like that, there are differences of opinions. The strictest opinion says you can't listen to anything, even if it's recorded, and that's the end of the discussion. There are those that say, no, you're allowed to listen to things that don't have musical instruments, just like you can't listen to live musical instruments. You can't listen to musical instruments that are recorded either, which means you can't listen to a cappella since there's no music. Others say no. Once it's not live, then there is no takana, there is no rabbinical decree that has anything to do with listening to music. And therefore, there are those that say that you can listen to music once it's recorded. There are variations on that also. There are those that say that even if it's recorded, you should not be listening to celebratory type of music that that's blasted really loud, and music that causes, even if no one's around, for you to celebrate or to dance or things like that. If it's just regular music that you're listening to while you're studying, while you're cleaning up, that would be okay to do so. But to listen to real celebratory type of music should not be done according to some say once it's not live, you can really listen to anything. And again, different opinions. You are more than welcome to email me or call me and ask me personally what you should or should not do, and we can. I'll be more than happy to answer any of those questions. In Parshat Balak, coming up in about 2 days, Parshat Balak is the story where the king of Moab named Balak hires Bilam to go and curse the Jewish people. And there are 2 main points that I'd like to bring up, which really surround all one point. Before I begin with the Parsha, I need to tell a quick story. And I have to be totally honest with all of you. I originally heard this as a joke. And it was very funny when the rabbi who I heard this from told the joke. But for like 15 years, I've told the same joke and no one ever laughs. So now I'm just telling you it's a story. This way when no one laughs, you say, oh, there was a story, it wasn't a joke. But here it goes. There's once a worker who was working on a very, very tall building. And it took many months to build this building. Anyway, every day at 12 o'clock, he and his partner would sit down and have lunch. So every day, the story went like this. The partner would open up his lunch and he'd have this really, really delicious lunch. Like on Sundays, it'd be like this pizza, right out of Tiferet kitchen. It'd be a delicious pizza, and it smelled beautiful. It melted cheese, everything. And the guy was sitting there looking at his friend and saying, I can't wait to see what I have in my lunch. And he opened it up and it'd be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He goes, every day peanut butter and jelly. I get peanut butter and jelly every single day. The next day, of course, same thing. The guy opened it up and it was this delicious steak sandwich with all the beautiful toppings and all the sauces and everything. And the guy's looking and says, I can't wait to see what I have in my lunch. And he opens it up. He says, peanut butter and jelly. Every day I get peanut butter and jelly. And this goes on every single day. Every day the second guy has delicious food and the first guy has peanut butter and jelly. Every day, peanut butter and jelly. Finally, one day, guy opens up a lunchbox, again, peanut butter and jelly. His friend says to him, listen, every day you complain about peanut butter and jelly. He says, why don't you just have your wife make something else? He goes, wife, I make it myself. The nimshal to the story, of course, is that if we don't do things for ourselves, nothing is going to get done. We have to act, we have to think, we have to be individuals in order to make changes. And if we're not going to do it on our own, then certainly it's not going to be done for us. In this week when Balak hires Balaam to go curse the Jewish people, so many of you who are listening to this, since you're Tiferet alumni, that would define you as a woman, perhaps don't get a chance to look much into the Torah. But a friend of mine pointed out something very, very interesting for the Frisch alumni who are listening, Rabbi Neil Fleischman, that when you take a look at the Torah in Parshat Balak, there's almost no breaks in the whole Parsha. It just goes straight, column after column after column, until really the end of the Parsha. And Rabbi Fleischman explains it's because Bilam did not take time to think what he was doing. He went on his emotion, he went on impulse. But if he had sat and took time to think, he was cursing the Jewish people who he knew God had blessed, he would have known this was a really, really bad idea. And what we learned from Bilam is that when you don't, again, try on your own to stop and to think and to make changes on your own, it's not just going to happen. Bilam could have made the change. He could have stopped. Lo kam b'Yisrael k'Moshe od Navi. There's no other Navi in Israel like Moshe. But the Medrash says there was another Navi amongst the non-Jews like Moshe, and that was Bilam. Can you believe it? Bilam, the Rasha, who tried to curse the Jewish people, and he was considered like Moshe? And the answer is because he never lived up to his potential. If he had stopped and thought and wanted to make changes, he could have. But he got so into the money and so into the power and so into the honor, he said, I'm not gonna do anything, and I'm gonna go with the flow. And that's why the Parsha has it the way it does. There's no time to think, because if you're not going to stop and take time to think, you're never going to be able to make any changes. You're going to end up with peanut butter and jelly every single day. One last point on Parshat Balak is that when the donkey, Bilam's walking and a donkey starts talking to him. A donkey starts talking to him, and Bilam answers back. And once Rabbi said he's not so amazed that the donkey started talking, he's amazed that Bilam actually answered the donkey back. And I remember Rabbi Avi Schneider said, this is Mrs. Schneider's husband, he says, we all laugh at Bilam. How could it be that Bilam didn't listen to a talking donkey? And Rabbi Schneider, who gave a long share in this, and I'll just sum it up in 30 seconds, said, we're no different. We don't stop and think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is talking to us every single day. Hashem gives us signs that he wants to see changes. He gives us signs and says, I want you to act differently. I want you to do things differently. I don't want you to stay the same. But, we're willing to laugh at Bilam, but we look at ourselves. Have we made any changes? Have we tried to do things differently? Bilam didn't want to do anything differently. He didn't stop and think. And he didn't stop and think this is a sign from Hashem. We're not necessarily any different than Bilam. If we stop and we think and to try and make changes, then we'll understand that Hashem doesn't necessarily use talking donkeys nowadays, but he uses many other things to let us know that we should be making changes. I want to wish everyone, first of all, a good Shabbos, and everyone should have an easy and meaningful fast, and to use the 3 weeks to really make changes within ourselves, to stop and think that we can change ourselves, we can change our environment around us, and we won't be stuck with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Have a good night.